So I went with Trick Flow by Cometic. They're steel multi-layer header gaskets. The reason I chose these over what I was using before is, one, they're supposed to be much more durable. They're meant more for a racing application. They're supposedly reusable. And if I did need to replace them, they're not going to bake onto the headers like they did in my current situation. Hopefully that will save me a lot of time and effort down the road. All right, so I've developed a header gasket leak, and no amount of bolt tightening helped at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it replaced, replace them both. So part of that process was getting that plug replaced so I could get wrenches in there. Also, you see on that last header, it had two uprights. It was for a bracket. I went ahead and chopped that off so I could get wrenches in there. And I've already got all of the bolts out. Let's see here, over here, those are the stud bolts. Those were a bit of a pain, but I got those out. So this is the old engine that was pulled out. And on the back side, you can see the port that piece of aluminum went to, and so that's what I'm dealing with. I just tested the bolt in there. It does bottom out, so I'm gonna have to shorten the bolt or find a shorter bolt. So by increasing the oblong on that, now I can get that sucker flush with the engine block. So I think that's going to work great, and now I'm just going to go ahead and trim out the edges. All right, got it installed. Let this sucker set up for at least an hour, maybe longer. Start it up and see if I get some massive vacuum leak or not. Where I was hearing the leak, pat, 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 was in the back of port here. And so now that I can see it, look at that. No wonder, right? All right, now that I got this out, it was on its way out here. I broke this trying to get it out, so that was due to me. But if we go across, that's not bad. It's okay, it's okay. And holy shit. Think we need to get that replaced? While I'm doing all this, I'm gonna replace all the plugs. Not looking too good. All right, I got the first header pulled out. Gonna get these all cleaned up and then reinstalled. All right, so I got that all nice and cleaned up. Use a combination of a blade, some sandpaper, and a wire brush. I'm gonna go ahead and lop that off, and then I gotta finish cleaning up the end there. Gaskets were blown out so severely, and they just baked on there. But it was a lot more work than I thought, that I anticipated in some of the areas getting that crap off there. It took more time than I anticipated. So I really hope the new gaskets, which are steel, will eliminate that problem if I ever have to drop the headers again. Obviously, I'm hoping they will last considerably longer. They're supposed to be reusable. How realistic that is, I don't know. But if I do need to drop them, Hopefully I won't have to go through this this process of scraping and wire wheeling and sanding all this baked on material on the header. So fingers crossed, but I'm done with this one. I think I am going to give it a little bit of a paint job, just a quick touch up, and then we'll move on. All right, so I got the header semi stuffed back up in there. Got everything clean. All I did was touch up the face plate there just to prevent some rust, use some high temperature paint. That's about it. What I got here are ARP stainless steel header bolts, 1 inch long. Something I wanted to point out real quick, the difference between these header bolts. Here's the original. That sucker is a 7/16. Look at the size of that socket. Look at the ARP bolt, the head, compared to the original 5/16 socket. So what does that do? Well, there's very little room to get a socket, let alone a wrench, in there with this size of a head in there. So I'm anticipating it's going to be much easier to get a socket in there, get a good bite, and get it cinched up nice and tight. So that I didn't even realize until now. So that's pretty cool. So here you see the standard header gasket, which is what I had on there before. I just had an extra set, versus the multi-layer steel. So obviously you can see it's metal, and what they mean by multi-layer is they stack it up 3 times, which is held together by this little loosely fitted rivet. So there's 1 and 2. So these are, like I said, supposed to last considerably longer, conform to not like perfectly machined surfaces. So let's hope for the best. All right, I got all my header bolts started. Of course, I got my gasket in there. All right, got it all bolted up. Was able to get some blue Loctite in there. So we're all square there. Now I just gotta connect the header to the exhaust underneath. I'm gonna replace the bolts a little bit longer, get a nylon nut on there, and of course, gonna replace the gasket. All right, so the other side is nowhere near as bad, but you can see it's starting to wear. All right, I got the header reinstalled. Everything's tightened down, Loctite, plugs back in. So I could not get the header away from the block far enough to get in there and do what I needed to do. So this dipstick completely in the way. It's actually fed through the headers, which is dumb, but it is what it is. So I pulled this sucker out. Now it's time to see if I can get it back in. There was a bracket attached to this dipstick. It was for something, I don't know. It came out of a 94 Mustang, so who the hell knows. All I know is it was bent around to make it fit in the space that I have in this car, and it's always in the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that crap off. Got that bracket cut off. Just a little stub now. Threw a little touch-up paint on there. Looks like new. Now the only thing left I need to do, which I'm hoping it goes in as easy as it came out, is the dipstick. All right, Got it all done. Sounds really good. Running way smoother with the new spark plug, so I'm glad I changed those out. And that exhaust leak, all gone. Got some paint burning off from the header. Excellent. I can already tell how much better it runs just by replacing the spark plugs. I was getting a lot of backfiring as well. We'll see if that kind of helps that out a little bit.